The bell above the coffee shop door jingled as a man in a wrinkled shirt and tired eyes walked in, holding his daughter's tiny hand. He didn't know that today, in this small corner cafe, his life was about to change forever. As he ordered 2 hot chocolates and a cheap black coffee, the little girl tugged his sleeve, whispering, "Daddy, why are those men shouting at that lady?" He turned and saw 2 suited men towering over a young woman, their tone harsh, their words cruel. The woman sat quietly, holding her ground, but her eyes showed fear. The man took one slow breath. Thought he didn't care who she was. He just knew one thing: no man should ever speak to a woman like that. And when he stood up to defend her, he didn't know she was the billionaire who would soon change both his and his daughter's lives forever. A single dad, once a construction foreman, now a barista, working double shifts just to pay rent and buy his daughter's asthma medicine. Every morning he woke up before sunrise, packed a simple lunch, and left little Emily sleeping soundly with her stuffed bunny. She was 6, bright, soft-spoken, and the reason he kept breathing, but life hadn't been kind. His wife, Claire, had passed away in a car accident 3 years ago. Since then, Jack had lost more than a partner. He'd lost his dreams, bills piled up. Jobs came and went. But he never complained. Long as Emily's smiling, he'd say, "I can handle anything." That morning, Jack was running late after dropping Emily at school. The coffee shop where he'd found part-time work was the only place that gave him flexible hours. It wasn't much, but it was honest. As he entered, he saw a woman sitting alone by the window, elegant, calm, dressed simply in a beige coat. But something about her posture felt heavy, like she was fighting a silent storm inside. 2 sharply dressed men walked up to her table. They spoke low at first, then louder. "Miss Hartman, you can't just walk away from the deal," one hissed. She replied firmly, "I'm not signing something that costs hundreds of people their jobs." Jack froze. He didn't know the details, but he knew the tone of bullying when he heard it. When one of the men slammed a hand on the table, Emily's voice echoed softly from the next booth, "Daddy." She looked scared. That was all it took. Jack walked up, calm but steady. "Hey," she said. "No. You heard her." The men turned, sneering. "This isn't your business, buddy." Jack's voice stayed low. "You made it my business when you scared my daughter." For a moment, silence. The men scoffed, muttered something, and stormed out. The woman looked up at Jack, surprised, thankful, and almost emotional. "Thank you," she said softly. "Not many people would have done that." Jack just shrugged, smiling faintly. "Guess I'm not many people." He went back to his seat, comforting Emily, not realizing that woman, Olivia Hartman, CEO of Hartman Group, one of the biggest companies in the city, was still watching him. For the first time in years, Olivia felt something unfamiliar: warmth. Someone had stood up for her, not because of her money or her name, but because it was right. She asked for a refill and caught Jack's name from his badge, Jack Miller. She repeated quietly to herself. Something about that name stayed in her heart long after. She left the cafe. Jack finished his shift and found Emily waiting outside with a stranger, Olivia, smiling kindly, holding a small bag of pastries. "I hope you don't mind," she said. "I ran into your daughter after school. She told me where you work." Jack blinked, wary. "Is everything okay?" Olivia laughed softly. "Better than okay. I came to say thank you, properly." Emily grinned. "She bought me a donut, Daddy." Jack sighed, smiling reluctantly. "You didn't have to do that." "I wanted to," Olivia replied gently. "You stood up for me. I don't forget that kind of thing." Over the next few weeks, Olivia kept showing up, sometimes just for coffee, sometimes to talk. Jack tried to keep it professional, but she had a way of seeing past his walls. She learned about Emily's asthma, about Claire's death, and how Jack had given up his dreams of opening a small carpentry shop. "You gave up everything for her," Olivia said one evening as they closed the cafe. "That's rare." Jack smiled. "She's my whole world." Something in his words struck Olivia deep. She'd spent years chasing success, boardrooms, and business deals, but she couldn't remember the last time she'd been loved for her, not her fortune. So she made a decision. Quiet, but powerful. One morning, Olivia came in dressed simply, no makeup, no designer coat. She told Jack she'd lost her job, wanted to see how he'd treat her if she were just nobody. Jack didn't hesitate. He offered her a seat, made her a free coffee, and said, "Hang in there. Bad days don't last." That was the moment Olivia knew this man was real. A week later, she invited Jack and Emily to a company event. Jack, confused, showed up in his best shirt only to realize the woman he'd defended was the billionaire owner of the entire building, reporters whispered. Executives stared. But Olivia ignored them all. She walked straight to Jack and Emily and said, with a warm smile, "This man reminded me what real strength looks like. And this little girl reminded me what love feels like." The crowd went silent. She offered Jack a new job, head of her company's community housing project, and asked softly, "Would you consider helping me build something meaningful, together?" Jack didn't answer right away. He just looked at Emily, who was beaming. "Can we trust her, Daddy?" she whispered. Jack smiled at Olivia. "Yeah, sweetheart. I think we can."